Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining Riders United YouTube channel, and this is the channel where I release motorcycle related videos. If you didn't sign up yet, please like and subscribe. You have the subscription button on the right corner of your screen. And in today's episode I would like to continue the series that I started last week. And in the previous week I was talking about the situation when you try to start the bike and the starter doesn't really turn, or if it turns it doesn't properly engage and doesn't allow you to start the bike. So in today's episode I would like to continue with further troubleshooting. So if you are interested, please stick around and I will share with you what I got. Here we go. So the first thing to check obviously will be the fuel. And sometimes if you have less than enough fuel in your tank, obviously there will be not enough flow of gasoline to your injection system or to your carburetor. So you would like to make sure that you have enough fuel. And Harley-Davidson actually recommend that you have at least 1 gallon of fuel in your tank, which is about 3.8 liters. And if you have less, it might be a really basic and simple reason why you might not be able to start your bike. The next thing that you should check will be the spark plugs. Sometimes if you have spark plugs that are fouled and there is maybe some deposit on it, there is not enough spark through the spark plug, and that will prevent your engine to start as well. So this is a really good thing to periodically check your spark plugs, but especially in the situations when you cannot really start your bike and your starter is operating properly, that will be the next thing to verify if everything is correct with your spark plugs. And you can just pull them out from both cylinders just to inspect them, make sure that they are nice and clean, there is no deposits on it, and you can use like a simple wire brush and just clean it really quickly just to make sure that everything is ready to go up there. The third thing to check will be to verify if you have a battery that is properly charged or there are no loose connections. In some cases you actually might have the battery that is fully charged, but if the connection is not really nice and clean, sometimes there might be not enough of power energy flowing through the system in order to help you to start the bike. And this is like a definitely good thing to check to verify that your battery is fully charged and all the connections are nice and free of any corrosions and everything is tied up really nice and snug. The fourth thing to check will be to verify what kind of oil do you have in your engine. Especially during the winter operation, this might be the critical factor. And as we know, this engine oil that is sometimes really heavy might prevent the proper startup of your engine. So you would like to make sure that the oil that you are using is proper for your temperature range, to make sure that the engine is turning freely and allow the proper startup of the engine later on. In some cases, when you have this really heavy oil in your engine, you might actually pull the clutch to make sure that everything is disengaged before you try to start the bike, and that will help you out a little bit in those cases when you are dealing with really heavy oil at really cold temperatures. The fifth thing to check will be to verify that you have proper connection between your coil and your spark plugs. So they are the wires that are actually going from the coil to the spark plugs, and if those connections are loose, or maybe you flip the wires into incorrect spark plugs, that might actually cause the issue as well, and you might not be able to start your bike. So it's always a good idea to apply a little bit of electrical grease at the ends of those wires on the both sides, just to make sure that there is really nice flow of energy and there is enough power to provide the proper spark at the spark plugs. The sixth thing that you should verify is connection between the power and the coil, and also the battery connection again, as well as connection between power and ECM. If any of those connections are faulty or there is not enough flow of the energy, this will also cause the issue when you might experience with your bike and won't be able to start the motorcycle properly. The seventh thing to verify will be to actually make sure that the coil is working properly as well as the ECM. So sometimes you may actually have the flow of the energy to those components, but the component itself might be faulty. So it's a good idea to verify if the coil is properly working, and there is a resistance test that you can run on those. And ECM also is one of the critical components of the bike. It's kind of like a brain for the motorcycle to operate all these major systems. So this is really critical to verify that everything is fine with the ECM. And in some cases, some of the sensors that are actually gathering the data for the engine in order to start might be faulty as well. So sometimes sensors that are part of our motorcycle can actually cause the issue when you will be not able to start the bike because of the data that is pulled from those components is not there, and it can confuse the ECM in order to start the bike. The eighth thing to check will be the bank sensor. This is this trip sensor, and as mentioned in the previous video, sometimes when the bike will fall on the ground and you put it back in the vertical position, you have to make sure that you trigger this sensor again, just to let your bike know that the bike is standing properly again, and that will allow you to restart the engine properly. And this might be the case that sometimes you won't be able to start the bike. So the next thing to check in here will be the fuel filter. And in some cases, if the fuel filter is clogged, or they are like foreign objects or some of the debris that might clog it, this will obviously prevent your bike to get the fuel in the injection system or your carburetor, and it can also cause the issue with the startup. If after all these checks you still experience the issue with starting your bike, you might have the sticky valve, or you might have the push rods that were installed improperly and have like improper lengths. So this will be one of those situations, especially after disassembly of the engine, that it's sometimes really easy to just like flip the push rods, and if they are like different lengths, that might cause the issue. So this will be probably more related to the situations when you are working on your engine and you disassemble a lot of things from the top end, and that might cause the issue as well. So the last thing you would like to check will be the fuel injectors. And if they are clogged, obviously you will have the issue with not enough of the fuel delivery to your cylinders. So it's not a bad idea to just run injector cleaner from time to time. This is the additive that you can add to your gasoline, and you can probably do it at the end of the season, or if you are in the nice climate that you have nice weather the whole year, you can probably do it like once a year or every 6 months, and you can just add this to the gasoline and just run the bike normally, and it will allow to clean your injectors properly, just so you don't experience any issues because of this specific problem. So this is everything I got in today's episode. I really hope that it will help somebody to identify some issues in case they are experiencing the situation when they cannot really start their bike. And those are really easy checks as far as most of them actually. Maybe the ECM is a little bit more complicated and the coil testing is a little bit more complicated, but the rest of it is fairly easy. So I really hope that I brought some value to subscribers of my channel, and as always I would like to ask you again for subscription. You have the subscription icon on the right corner of your screen, and as always I would like to mention that you can always find me on the different social platforms. I have the Facebook group called the Rider United Motorcycle Group. I also have the account on the Instagram when I try to post some cool pictures, and also the Twitter and TikTok. So as always, I would like to say thank you very much for being here with me. It's always a pleasure to be part of this great community. And as always, I would like to ask you for helping other riders that you might see on the road with the broken bike or anything. And maybe this video will help you to help them and let them get home safely. So this is everything I got for you guys. And next week I will try to continue with the series, and I will post another video that will help you to troubleshoot any issues that you might have with your bike. So if this is of some of the interest for you, please stick around, and I will be more than happy to see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.